of student would do academically well in our school. Much as scores should not matter, right? I would always begin with the fact that test scores are not a good indicator of people's ability, but in the classroom, to succeed in life, but in the classroom, in the 2-year program, they are a reasonable indicator of how well the student is going to do during those 2 years. So if you dropped your admission standards below, let's say 650 on the GMAT and said, we will take those foreign students in, those students would probably struggle in our schools. Now, the moment you say we will take any African student that has more than 650, that African student who's got 650 is also being recruited by Columbia University, Yale University, right, and so forth, and Stanford. And at this point in time, we'd be kidding ourselves to say if some kid in Nigeria gets into Stanford University or any of our 5 schools, he's going to pick Stanford University. So I do think we need to be somewhat realistic as well in terms of our aspirations here.
Father George, I'll have the lady have the last word, but so I'll come to you before that. I wanted to ask you, and I'll ask...
Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand all the latest cues from the D Street, starting from the benchmark index moves to sectoral action and all the stocks that are buzzing the most in trade today. We'll also be joined by an expert who will find out from where exactly are opportunities emerging for you as an equity investor. But first up, a quick check as to how the markets are doing at this point in time. Remember, we opened up pretty subdued in the trade today, carrying off the similar trend what we had seen in the last 2 trading sessions of the previous week. So the markets are kind of trying to find out their support. 18,690 currently for the Nifty, up about 25 points, 40 points of a jump for the Sensex, hovering above 63,000 mark, but flattish absolutely, with a positive bias in today's trade. Let's look at the broader markets, the mid and the small caps as well. The Nifty Mid Cap 100 index up by 0.5%, small cap index up by 0.3% odd. So definitely doing better than the benchmark indices. How's the Nifty Bank doing? Is there any support from there? Let's look at that as well. So the Nifty Bank is currently trading with 0.1% higher trade. There was a lot of choppiness up until the first half of trading session. We've been seeing Nifty Bank constantly shifting between the gains and the losses. But what's in fact doing better in today's trade is clearly the FMCG space. 0.5% of gains coming in. So the consumption theme is doing strong in today's trading action, and you're seeing stocks like ITC, all of these buzzing in trade. The Nifty IT index has also pulled up from the day's low point, 0.2% up in trade currently at 28,613. But whether this will sustain is something that we will continue to watch out for. Auto stocks doing better, 0.6% of an uptick. So it's definitely moving towards the faster lane as we progress the day's session as well. Some of the other sectors that are in focus, of course, like I pointed out, consumer durables also in focus, 0.6% odd kind of moves coming in. So perhaps the profit booking of last week flowing into the consumption theme in today's trading action. Financial services absolutely flat, trying to pull up from the low point of the day, but just with gains of 0.07%. It's the pharma index that is shining the brightest in today's trade. 1.5% uptick for the Nifty Pharma. That's where all the action is. So the pharma, FMCG, just like how we pointed out in the early opening market action when we had discussed with you. Also, the realty pack still sulking in trade today. The healthcare pack doing better, of course, along lines with the pharma space. Let's look at the gaining and the losing stocks today. The Nifty top gainers includes a whole host of stocks which are from varied baskets. You can see stocks like Cipla doing well from the pharma pack, UPL up 1.8%. Adani Enterprises has seen a jump coming in after those subdued moves last Friday. Tata Consumer definitely doing better, 2% up right now at 856. Divis Laboratories, Hero Moto also up in trade. So autos, pharma, FMCG, these are the kind of names that are springing up. Adani Ports also seeing recovery coming in. M&M, Dr. Reddy's, the other major gainers at this point. On the laggard side, you do have far and few between stocks coming in on the power space, for example, in TPC Power Grid, all down in trade. Coal India down in trade. So the energy basket is sulking today, almost 1% down in trade. The steel stocks or the metal stocks, JSW Steel, for example, is down in trade. TCS is sulking. BPCL also down in trade. So oil and gas, metals, the commodities basket clearly not doing very well. RIL also down by 0.5%. So the heavyweight counter hovering near 2500 odd levels, that's where some pressure is emerging from. Bharti Airtel and Grasim, the other majors that are down by half odd percent. But of course, today will also be a day when we will have to focus on the IPO space and the primary market space. We'll get on to that. But first up, a quick check with our guest first on the markets and the movement going forward. Raghavendra Singh joins in, market analyst on the show with us. Mr. Singh, good afternoon and thank you so much for taking the time out for this discussion. First up, your thoughts on the way the markets are progressing. We did see, two consecutive sessions of losses coming in for the benchmark indices in the last week. Is that trend of more consolidation or perhaps more volatility right ahead of the monthly expiry going to shape up this week?
Well, Sakshi, very good afternoon. As far as index is concerned, they are trading in a very narrow range. So Nifty is taking support near 18,700, 18,600 level. And on the higher side, Nifty has a very strong resistance at 18,900, which is looking very difficult to break in this week. So I'm expecting a very narrow trade in this, in this week. As far as expiry is concerned, I believe it is going to be a very volatile because it is a monthly expiry. So we can see some spot in index and some spot in stocks as well.
Okay, understood that. Well, let's focus on the IPO action, Raghavendra. I wanted to understand from you, 3 big IPOs going to launch this week, starting with IdeaForge, that's open for subscription today. And apart from that, Cyient, DLM, and we also have PKH Ventures opening for the public. So 1,500 crore rupees up for grabs right there. The kind of IPO funds getting raised for these 3 companies. Let's take them one by one to understand all about these companies and what your suggestion will be to all the viewers who are looking forward to take a pie of these new launches on the D Street. First up, let's talk about IdeaForge IPO. Now we are already seeing the grey market premium shooting up. The IPO has opened in today's trading action. That's June 26, will conclude on June 29. The company's shares, in fact, are on the grey market space, are commanding a premium of 490 rupees odd in the unlisted market space. But apart from that, the key details that investors must know, the price band is 638 to 672 rupees. The company has already raised to 54 crore rupees from the anchor investors. At the upper end of the price band, 567 crore rupees is what the company is hoping to raise. Now, what is exactly that you should know is that IdeaForge is a company that is the largest drone manufacturer in India. Mapping, surveillance, those kind of stuff is what the company does. In fact, we did speak to the management also earlier to understand more about the insight. So Raghavendra, first we'll listen up to what the management really had to say about the company, the vision going forward, and what do they expect to do after they get listed on the exchanges. So let's listen in. I did speak to the CEO, that's Ankit Mehta, and the CFO, Vipul Joshi, as to what do they expect going forward from here and their own business vision. Let's listen in. Understand the key objective of launching your IPO and what will be the funds from the fresh issue be used for, Mr. Joshi?
Yeah, so thank you, Sakshi. Right now, what our focus is that we would be raising about 240 crores from the primary raise in the market. Our distribution or the use of proceeds is distributed between 40 crores in product development, 50 crores in repayment of debt, and 135 in working capital.
Okay. And what will be the debt to equity ratio thereafter, and what is it currently? And, going forward from here, how would you see that panning out?
So the intention is that, we've largely been a debt-free organization all our life, and we have been prudent in the usage of how the debt has to be deployed for our expansions. We're seeing that going ahead, once we will repay our current utilization, which is standing at around 85 crores, which is from that we'll repay the 50 crores. And subsequently, as the business grows and the need arises, we would be dipping into the requirement from that and also using the fresh raise that we are doing at the moment.
Okay. Mr. Mehta, if you could help us understand, who all are really selling stake as part of your OFS in this IPO, and after the listing, what will the shareholding look like?
So I think It's around 13% of our overall shareholding that's currently in the OFS. And we basically have some of our long-term investors who have invested in us, taking only partial exits as
Okay.
part of the IPO proceeds.
Help us understand who are your key clients who are already using your technology at this point in time. Give us a sense of the current order book and, the visibility if you have going forward from here.
So, Sakshi, if you look at the overall users who have deployed our systems on field, it would be our defense forces, several of our central armed police forces, our state police forces, as well as many government departments and private enterprises who are
Okay.
deploying these, like I mentioned, for surveillance and mapping applications.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of the order book, FY23 ending order book was about 192 crores.
Okay.
And there are several opportunities that we are participating in, given the momentum the sector has and the intent that the government has to deploy the technology, as well as the opening up that has happened for the civil side of uses.
Yes.
Due to conducive regulations, we are looking and tracking great opportunities in this space.
Sure. And if you could help us understand the revenue stream currently for you, the revenue mix, how is it placed, and going forward, what will be your key focus areas for building revenues further?
So largely our revenue mix today is defense and civil. Defense being about 75 to 80% of our portfolio. And going ahead in the near term, we expect the similar ratios to continue with a slight betterment in the civil market.
Okay. Okay. And the current market share that you have, you're the largest, manufacturer currently in India. So I'm guessing you have a large market share currently. If you could specify that, and going forward, what is the outlook on that?
So as far as FY22 market share for IdeaForge is concerned, we were about 50% of the market in terms of revenue.
All right, largest market share holding as far as the drone manufacturing is concerned. Raghavendra, you did hear the management talk about the kind of order visibility they have, the revenue mix currently, their focus largely being defense going forward from here as well. So for all the investors, this IPO has opened for subscription today. Would you be bullish on this space? Would you recommend investors to take a plunge here?
Sakshi, definitely, this is a very good company. They are into the aerospace. They are the leader in the aerospace technology. So I believe investors should invest this company. And the most important thing is the management is very keen to clear the debts. So they are coming in the IPO with at least they are planning to reduce their debt, and they are coming with a new product, and they are going for the more government contracts. So yes, this is a very good company. Investors should invest into this.
Okay, so investors can definitely look at subscribing. Would you advise investors to stay here for the long term, or should one really look at just listing gains and book the profits out?
I'm expecting the listing gain should be almost 20 to 30%. If you are a long-term investor, definitely you should hold this stock for the long term.
Okay, 20-30% kind of listing gains in case you're a short-term investor, but long-term investors can also continue to hold this space, this stock in their portfolios if they get the allotment of this stock too. Apart from this, let's also jump on to the next IPO, and that's Cyient DLM IPO that will open for subscription tomorrow. Now here again, the public issue is worth 592 crore rupees, and the bidding will be allowed till 30th of June. The company management has fixed the IPO price between 250 to 265 rupees per equity share, and over here also we've seen that the grey market premium is around 100 rupees odd or 110 rupees odd as well. But here again, remember that the key point here is that it's a complete fresh issue of shares. So the entire money or the fund will be used by the company for cutting its debt, for its working capital and expansion plans too. Cyient DLM, the subsidiary of Cyient, the tech major, getting listed, launching its IPO here. One lot comprises of 56 shares, and the minimum requirement for the IPO is 14,840 rupees, and that's one lot, and the maximum would be closer to 2 lakh rupees, and that is 13 lots will be allowed for per retail investor. Here, what would you say, Raghavendra? Does this IPO excite you?
Definitely, this is a very good company, and you name the industry, they are into this. They are into oil and gas, they are into defense, they are into railway, they are into semiconductor. They are everywhere in this industries. So this is a very good company. I'm expecting a good listing gain also, and the major part, I'm expecting investor to hold this stock for the long term also.
Long term also. So, what kind of listing gains do you expect here? And for the long term investors, what should be the kind of outlook one has?
I'm expecting around listing around 380, 400 level, and that is a very good level. If you are a short-term trader, definitely you should book your profit. But for the long term, you should this stock should be in your portfolio.
Okay, understood that. Let's actually look at the other one as well, PKH Ventures, that will open for subscription on June 30th. Here the price band has been fixed between 140 to 148 rupees. So ticket wise, this is the cheaper one that is available for all the investors right here. Your own thoughts on this company? Is this also a company that you'd be tracking, and does it also warrant investors' attention? Remember that the company is launching this IPO. It's in the business of owning, managing, operating hotels, restaurants, QSRs, spas, and sale of food products as well. And also, the company is, looking to raise 379 crore rupees by selling both fresh issue and offer for sale over here. So, both spaces going to be important to understand. Your own thoughts on this company?
This is a construction company. This is a Mumbai-based company. They are into hospitality. They are into constructions. They are into different avenues. Merely, they are into the hospitality industry. Their revenue is not as per my expectation. So I'm not expecting a very good listing gain in this stock. But yes, this is a stock which you should invest for the listing gain, and you should exit in the listing gain.
Okay, only for the short-term investors, and for listing gain is something that you can look at. For all our viewers to understand, for the 9 months ended on December 31st of 2022, the company reported its net profit of 28.6 crore rupees with a total revenue at 155 odd crore rupees. The company clocked in a net profit of 40 crores with a total revenue of 245 crores for the entire financial year that ended on March 31st, 2022. So that's something that you should definitely keep in mind as well. Now, apart from these primary market options and opportunities that investors do have, a lot of other stocks are also buzzing in today's trading action as well. You did mention that you do expect volatile week going forward from here, of course, especially because we are ahead of the monthly expiry and we have a holiday shortened week right here. So there could be some kind of volatility that the investors can face. But some of the stocks that are buzzing, I'd like to take your view on that. ICICI Securities. Now, that company, in fact, the stock jumped about 15% in fact in today's trade, and that's because the company now seeks to delist its shares going forward from here. There is a board meeting scheduled on June 29th, and that's where exactly we will come to know of the price at which the ICICI Securities would like to, unlist or delist their shares at 10.19%, kind of a move at 620 rupees. What would you advise investors to do at this point in time? Is it an opportunity, at least for the short-term traders, to perhaps look at what could be potential opportunity in the short term, and in hopes of which the stock is also rising higher?
So actually, this stock had listed in 2018. Since then, this stock has not given a single return for the investor. So similarly, if you see the angel one, the stock has been given a tremendous return for the investor. So I'm not expecting very good, upside in this stock. I'll advise my investor and my neighbors to stay away from this stock. If you have this stock in your portfolio, kindly exit.
Okay. What about the other brokerage house stocks? At the same point, since we are discussing ICICI Securities, Motilal Oswal, Angel One, you did talk about. Are there enough opportunities for investors to look at these kind of broking stocks?
Yes, if investor are more or less focused for this ICICI security, better to invest in the mutual the Motilal Oswal and this Angel One stock.
Okay, got that. Apart from this, another stock that is coming on our radar today is Shree Cement. Now, the stock in fact tanked about 10%, and that's on the 23,000 crore rupees tax evasion reports that have actually come about. There were raids that have taken place. The IT department launched investigation at 5 locations in Rajasthan, in Ajmer, for the company. And the company said that all the management personnel were cooperating with the officials, clarifying the solution. But at the same time, we did see the stock definitely giving a sharp reaction downwards. It's recovered from the day's low point, but still about 8% down in trade, 23,120. It is one of those most expensive stocks that we have on the listed space as well. From the cement space, Shree Cement, how would you look at amidst these kind of news flows?
Sri Cement, we can see there is a complete corporate governance failure. Because of that, the stock has given a very deep, cut. I think unless and until we don't get any clear indication from the management and from the corporate governance, I don't think this is a good time to invest in this stock. Stay away from this.
Stay away from the stock for the interim. Well, all right. Thank you so much, Raghavendra, for being with us on the show and discussing with us both the opportunities in the secondary market space and the primary market space for all our viewers to understand where exactly should they be putting in money at this point in time. But let's quickly look at how the markets are trading at this point. 37 points of a decline coming in on the Sensex, so that's turned into red. Nifty is absolutely flat at this point at 18,670 odd levels, just about 5 points of up in trade. What remains to be seen is whether the second half of trading action brings in some cheer back for the benchmark indices, or it could be another day where we do see the losses continuing, especially on the benchmark index level, because the broader markets are still holding on to some gains coming in. We'll continue to track the market momentum for you, and you can do the same by being with us on Business Today TV. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel and also continue to engage with us on our other social media platforms as well. Until then, many thanks for tuning in.
Good afternoon, namaskar, vanakkam. A very, very warm welcome to Rajiv Chandrasekhar, a minister with many portfolios, but perhaps the only union minister, not just in India but across the world, who's been a chip designer. And what a fantastic day to welcome Rajiv here, hours after some extremely important, significant steps announced in the United States.